Hey, this is Gecko Mayhem. This is another Godforge video. It is about time that we had some more information to share with you all. The Fateless team has been hard at work behind the scenes, improving everything, tweaking everything, polishing everything, including character models. In today's showcase, I am going to show you a handful of characters who have had their face models improved. So the structure of their face, how they look. Things such as costumes, hair, all the other stuff, effects, lighting, all of that. None of that is part of today's showcase. So the first part will be looking at character models. I'll show you the original character model, the new character model, and do a side-by-side comparison so we can have a little chat about what we think about the improvements, or at least the changes. Following that, we're going to look at 3 characters' kits, so the skills and attacks that they have, and the changes that come with their skills. So we'll dive into that after we look at the character models. First up, we have Isolde. This is what Isolde looks like, has looked like for quite some time, and looked like in Alpha 3. And this is what she looks like now. Much more realistic, much more detail. She looks like a person that may have lived 500 years ago. The comparison. So I've put together a side-by-side here, and I will do this with every character. For Isolde, we can compare and see just how much more detail has been put into the new model. You can see the freckles on her face a lot more clearly. The blushing around her cheeks looks a lot more realistic. Everything, the shadows in her face, the depth, just the 3D feel. It's no longer just this mannequin looking thing. It actually has depth to it. I think it looks like a much better version of Isolde. The change here is phenomenal. Just how much effort they've put into to make these characters have so much more detail in their face, and I like this. I really like what they have done with it. Next up we have Aphrodite. This is the original, or at least the Alpha 3 Aphrodite. This is the new Aphrodite model, and we'll do a comparison. So ignore the flowers and the hair and the glitter on the shoulders. We're just looking at how the face has been changed. And here, once again, it's really quite significant when you think about it. Now, at first glance, you go, oh, it just looks like higher polygon count or something like that. But there's so much texture to her skin. The lips are a little bit thinner and more natural. They're not as, I don't want to use the term bloated, but they are not as whatever that is. Her eyes, just even the eyes have been stepped up. There's just so much more detail to this, more depth, more texture, more feeling to it, more realism. There's just more realism in this, and I think that they have done an absolutely fantastic job of improving Aphrodite. I believe that this is Ishtar from the Aker faction. I don't know for sure because we weren't told who these characters are, and she was not in Alpha 3, but my guess is that this is Ishtar. It's what she did look like, and this is what she looks like now. It's not quite the same angle. You can immediately see that there's a big difference, right? So let's do the comparison. Significant change. Once again, we've got depth, we've got shadow, we've got texture. Just the skin texture on her face looks better. Her lips look more realistic. There are the lines on her bottom lip. Her eyes look so much more realistic. Even the eyebrows just look like they're not as painted on. And the darkness around her eyes in the first one with the dark, I can't remember what you call that. Often the Egyptians had that black stuff around their eyes, but I think she looks better with the black around her eyes, and I hope that they do add some sort of eyeshadow paint to her eyes potentially when they work on this model some more, but the general change to the texture on that and the depth of it is actually really good. This is the composite bowman, also from the Echo faction. I don't know why we were given two pictures here, maybe to show one in-game, one with no background. This is the original. I believe the one on the left is the original. I don't know what this one on the right is. Maybe it was an earlier version of it. And then we were given this. There's a lot more that we see here. We see a lot more of the model. We can ignore that because for now the showcase is on how has the face changed. So when we move to the comparison, we can see the significant change here. It looks like almost a painting on the left, and then we've got so much more detail and so much more depth here. The nose, the whiskers, the eyebrows again, the eyes, just the eyes and the furrow in his brow just looks so much better. You're probably not going to be zooming in to your characters all that often. So you're probably wondering why? Why do they have so much detail here just on the faces of the characters? Well, it's the quality of the game, and it is the love that the developers are putting into this. They want their game to be beautiful. They want it to be fun, they want it to be engaging, they want it to have people come in, lots of people come in and just enjoy it and thrive within the community, but they want a beautiful game, and they want a game that has a certain level of quality, and these face changes are really meeting that level of quality. Next up we have Susanoo. Susanoo is in the Izumo faction. I believe he is one of the creation gods, if I remember correctly. So here we have the original Susanoo, and here we have a different picture, but this is the updated model, and what I did is I resized them so that we could compare them. And so, I mean, just looking at this, faces aside, his costume is so incredible, but we'll leave that for another day. Susanoo. I had to zoom in on the right hand one, that is the improvement, and so it's lost a bit of quality. You can see the jaggedness of his hair. It has lost quality, right? But you can see the difference. Once again, just like the other models that we've looked at, significant improvement in terms of the detail, the depth, the shadow, even just above his eyebrows where you see his forehead, where it comes together, the shape of his nose, his whiskers again, like the composite bowman, a bit more grey in his moustache and his goatee, just so much more realism. And if this was not a zoomed in image that lost quality because of what happens when you expand an image, I think it would just look fantastic. So really pleased with what they've done with these faces. And now onto the showcase of changes to heroes kits. I have not watched these videos. I do not know what changes are in store for us, but first up we have Dracula. Okay, we've seen Drac before. He looks incredible, doesn't he? His armor is just outstanding. They've potentially done something to the lighting. Okay, let's take a look at his abilities. Alright. Attack each enemy 2 times, chance to place bleed, heal him if the target's under a bleed. I don't know if that was already one of his skills. 2 stacks of bleed on enemies, remove a buff from each one. If it's removed, place 3 stacks of bleed. And then we've got his ultimate, attack all enemies 4 times, consumes bleed, it destroys the target HP for 10% of the damage inflicted. Okay, I don't think that was one of his skills. At the start of the turn, if they're under bleed, increase the damage of this hero's next attack by 10%, so that's his passive. Steal 5% of their current HP. And then we see how much it takes to maximize it, so you can reduce the cooldown, less divinity cost, more damage, and this one, still 5% of the current HP. I keep missing what it's saying. It's great, whatever it is. Here we have Ascension. Oh, all right, cool. They've updated the Ascension page, and we have Awakenings. So, bleed on all enemies, increase the multiplier, destroys the... that's what it is. So that's the Awakening. Adds that extra thing to it. Steal 5% and increase this hero's divinity. Increases his divinity by 2%. So they were all Awakenings. That was showing the awakened skills. So if you have an awakened 5 Dracula, you're going to have all those extra bits added onto his skills. I think the most significant one there was this grants an extra turn. I didn't notice that. It grants him an extra turn. And it removes their buffs. Did he remove buffs before? I used Dracula in Alpha 3 and I cannot remember. But that's quite significant. And then of course his ultimate has always been quite incredible. But the fact that it destroys their HP if you have him awakened, which, let's be real, not too many people are going to have an awakened Drac very early in the game, are they? But it's great to see that there are these additional effects that are added to his skills. Okay, not the next hero. It's actually Dracula in action. Here we go. That is his basic attack. Bam, bam. Whacks them, puts bleeds on everybody. Or do the ultimate? No, he's going to do the core. Okay. That just placed 3 bleeds on them. And he got an extra turn. And hits and 2 more bleeds. He is the bleed king. That was a lot. Yeah, I don't recall him getting an extra turn when he placed bleeds on people. So you go in, you do damage, you place bleeds on everyone. When you get your next turn, you do your core, you place even more bleeds and you get an extra turn. Good gracious. And then he consumed the blades and did damage. You can feel the impact as well, can't you? When he goes in. There we go, that was his ult. That wasn't his ult, was it? That 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that was his ult. So you can feel the impact when Dracula, when he does damage to enemies. Yeah, he's a better bleed champion now, I believe. Alright, let's see. What is next? It is Loki. Old Loki, eh? Oh, Loki's model's changed. Hold up. Wow. He's improved, man. The armor looks basically the same, but his face has been improved. That's cool, man. Alright. Trickster's Deflection. Attack an enemy with a chance to place Charm. We know that you can place Charm. And then Sleep. AoE Sleep. Steal 10% of the turn meter. If it blocks or is immune, increases his turn meter. That's nice. That's actually quite nice. An 80% chance to place Corrupt. Let's stop. Alright. AoE. An 80% chance to place Corrupt on each target. Then places Vanish and Reflect on himself. When attacking under Vanish, steal a random buff. Or extend a random debuff. Right. Gain Divinity when inflicting damage to an enemy under sleep. So he's all about debuffs and control. And he has Reflect on himself as well. So he's vanished, so he's not targetable. He has Reflect, so he's reflecting back damage. He places Corrupt on the targets, so they take damage when he gets attacked. I think that's how Corrupt works. Good gracious. So they've really improved him, haven't they? I guess time will tell if he turns out to actually be... that's right. Corrupt steals a debuff, steals a buff. Yep. They're corrupt, so they cannot receive a buff, so he gets it instead. When sleep expires or is removed, decrease the turn meter by 20% and place speed down 2. Oh my gosh! Place speed down 2 on them. So you can reduce the cooldown if you get the books, if you get the scrolls or the books. Yep. And Awakening. So this is that was obviously skills with a fully awakened one. Okay, so you can't reduce their turn meter until you get him awakened. And then this is the speed down one, which is significant. And then that one was... Go on, click it. Under vanish, steal a random buff or extended debuff. Okay, so he won't by default steal buffs. But it's a nice to have, isn't it? If you can get an Awakened 5 Loki, he will be a pretty decent control champ. He was not very good in Alpha 3, so it's good to see that they've buffed him in this way, where there's a lot more control. Unfortunately, if you don't have him awakened, you're not going to put that speed down. You're not going to try to steal that buff, which is still a little bit sad. Let's see Loki in action. Let's see him placing these debuffs and placing buffs on himself and so on. Alright, he goes in and charms. Charm doesn't do a whole lot, does it? There we go. Puts them to sleep. Does his ultimate. Puts up Corrupt. And Charm. Which doesn't seem to do a lot, does it? They just keep going in and hitting him. But while they've got Corrupt, they can't receive buffs. Puts them to sleep again. It's pretty funny. Jumps behind them. Corrupt, renewed. Charm. And of course speed down. Oh good. I think we've seen enough of Loki. It's an improvement, but I still think that if you pull Loki, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. It feels like you're going to be disappointed. But his damage seemed to be actually reasonable. He was doing 7,000 and so on, so if his damage holds up, then you bring him in as that sort of control and debuffer, but let him do a bit of damage as well. I guess we'll see. Alright, next up we have Ra. Ra, the sun god. Still looking great, eh? He hasn't changed. I love the glowing sun-like emanations from his crest. Sun Crescent Sweep. Whoops, let's go back attack. I want to read that. It's a single attack with a chance to increase the duration of Blaze. If it's critical, it activates Blaze. Yep. Got that. And then we've got Fires of Creation, AoE, with a chance to place Blaze 3 for 3 turns. If it defeats an enemy, decrease the cooldown of this. So obviously it's the master. What is it called when you upgrade your skills? It's booked, right? Booked is a 3-turn cooldown. But if you don't have them booked and you are decreasing the cooldown, that's great because it'll roll around again. Increase crit damage by 5% for each blaze placed. You can get up to 15% increased crit damage if you blaze them up. Alright. Solar Convergence, AoE, triple AoE, a chance to place defense down a vulnerable toe. If they're defeated, increase the duration of Blaze. Gain 20 divinity when enemies are damaged by Blaze. And his passive. When any Blaze is activated, expires, or is removed, increase the damage of his ultimate by 5%. Yep, so activate Blaze, you can reduce the cooldown and so on. Defense down vulnerable toe. And then we have which ones were his awakening. Interesting to see the ascension there. Okay. Increase crit damage by 3% for each blaze toe. Okay, I thought it said 5%. When enemies defeated, yeah, increase the duration of blaze on all enemies by 1 turn. And then 50% chance to activate blaze. Let's go back and take a look because, yeah, so increase crit damage by 3% for each blaze toe, right? If it's defeated, increase the duration of blaze on all enemies. And 50% chance to activate Blaze. So we go back and we go... Activate Blaze on the target. Increase the duration of Blaze by 1 turn. Increase crit damage by 5% for each Blaze. And then if an enemy is defeated, increase the duration of Blaze on all enemies. I don't think it's quite what it was saying, is it? 50% chance to activate Blaze on any attack. Oh, that's his passive. That adds to his passive. Ah. So that awakening adds to his passive. Okay, let's see it in action. Let's see if Ra has been improved. This is a cool little swipe. The animation's looking good. Alright, let's see this one. Bam! They didn't get Blaze placed on them. Okay, ultimate. Here we go. By the power of the sun. Bam! Vulnerable. There we go. Oh. All those blazes. What in the blazes? 5 stacks or 3 stacks? It was 3 stacks. Okay. Let's see. Ultimate. Ultimate. Do that ultimate. Here it is. Bam. I guess it's all about the debuffs, right? He does serious damage with that. 7,000. It's pretty good. Okay, that's everything that we have to show today. I am impressed with the changes to the character faces. I was going to say facial models, but whatever the case may be, the improvements to the character models are very good. I like all of them. I do. I think that they are really putting in some effort to polish and to tweak and to improve and to make things look better overall. In terms of the skills, it's so hard to remember what any given skill does even after you've read it. So just take it as it is. Dracula looking like he's putting up even more bleeds, doing more damage with those bleeds. Still really strong, really cool as a brawler. Ra, yeah, still bringing the power of the sun. I don't see that he is going to be bringing more damage. And Loki, they've tried to improve him. I don't know what else they can do to improve him. The fact that he brings a sleep is kind of cool, but I think that was just when awakened he was sleeping them, right? So it would be good if the base thing was, hey, I'm going to put these enemies to sleep. And corruption doesn't seem to do much. I never really found a lot of use for corruption during the alpha. I know that other characters such as Mordred put corruption up on enemies, and it is what it is. I still don't think people are going to be ecstatic to pull Loki, but hey, a legendary is a legendary. They're doing what they can to improve these skills. They're trying to make Ra stronger overall by placing these debuffs, the vulnerability and so on that he's doing. So when you get these characters paired or grouped or partied with other characters, that's where you really start to see things synergize and things take off. So it's not about just their base skills. You've got no books, you've got no awakening, you've got no ascension, you've just got your base legendary character. You can't upgrade them much. You get them to level 60, you put some gear on them. They're missing a whole lot of extra utility to their spells and skills. You pair them with other characters, you group them with other characters, and that is where they shine. Because they all have a place and they can all be used in a certain way. Except for Loki. I'm kidding. Go hard. Be a Loki fan. Do what you like. That's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you're looking forward to early access Godforge next year. I'll see you in the next one.